we've got a table full of apples here. We're going to compare the old and new MacBooks and MacBook Pros right after this. Hey guys, welcome to The Bleeding Edge. I'm Andrew Edwards. Today we're going to be looking at the new MacBook and MacBook Pros, the redesigned versions. And we're going to compare those to the older MacBook Pro and MacBook, and also take a look at how the MacBook Air compares to those. So we have a bunch of stuff to get into right now, so let's just jump in. So here you'll see on the table, we have the old MacBook, or MacBook Pro rather, and the new MacBook Pro here. Then we have the old school white MacBook, and then the newly redesigned MacBook here, and then here at the end we have the MacBook Air. And what we're going to do is just compare each model to each other one by one, and then at the end we'll do a big size comparison. So first we're going to just jump into the MacBook Pro. So pardon me while I move all these computers out of the way. So here you go with the older version of the MacBook Pro. It's a little more square. If you look at, the design there and the shape, along the front you have the DVD slot and a hinge, on, a button to unlatch it, so that you can open it up. And here on the new one, you see it's more contoured. There's some bezeling done there. If you look at the front, it's now a magnetic latch instead of an actual latch with a hinge. If you look at the left side, comparing the two, you'll see that all the ports on the newer version are here on the left, compared to the other version, which splits the ports between the left and the right. So if you look here at the right-hand side, you'll see even more ports compared to the new model, where all you have on the right-hand side is the DVD slot, the super drive. And then looking at the front, here you see there's no DVD slot here anymore. Now if we open these up, you see there's where we have a stark contrast. The older model has a screen that pretty much, I'm going to use the term ends here. It's not an infinity screen, which is what they call these newer screens, where the actual glass in front of it goes almost right to the end of the display. And then the keyboard. If you compare the keyboards, the older model has the old school style keyboard where all the keys are together, compared to the newer model that has the chiclet style where each key is its own, basically has its own cutout out of the body. And if you compare the bodies, actually, you'll also see that the newer version is pretty much seamless, thanks to the new unibody concept and the way Apple's manufacturing their new notebooks now. And then the trackpad. The new trackpad is larger, and the entire trackpad is a button, compared to the older one where you have the trackpad portion and the actual button, physical button right there. So those are the differences between these two, at least externally. Now let me close these up so we can show you the MacBook. I'll put these aside. Now here we have the older MacBook model, and here is the newer MacBook. And obviously the differences here are much more obvious, obviously. So first, one of them is white polycarbonate plastic, and the other one is aluminum. If we look at ports, one of the big complaints we're hearing from the feedback from our readers, viewers, and just from people that we know, is that the older model has the FireWire 400 port, which is used in many situations, including target disk mode. And the newer MacBook, which is upgraded and is supposed to be closer to the Pro line than the last one, is missing FireWire. So there's no FireWire at all on the newer MacBook, and there's no way to plug in a FireWire cable, even with an adapter or anything. That doesn't exist. So you're losing a little bit of functionality there, but what you're gaining is a display port, which apparently, according to Apple, is the display port of the future, the technology of the future. That's why there's no HDMI on these. Of course, I think it's just because their HDMI product is the Apple TV. On the other side, you have your DVD drive, which is the same on both. And then from the front, you can see there's more tapering to this one, and both of these use the magnetic enclosure. So we can open these up. Now here, again, you'll see there's a much more obvious contrast between these two. Again, the older one is white. New one has the new Pro look, which is aluminum, black keyboard keys, and then the black bezel along the screen. Here on the older one, you have the white keys, still a chiclet style, but also on the inside, again, you have the physical button on the older one, whereas on the newer one, you have the glass trackpad, which also functions as the button itself. The only other difference that I can see on the inside is that you have the power button, which is a lot smaller on the top right, as opposed to a larger one on the older MacBook. And if we were to just bring in the other piece of their line to complete the look at their notebooks, and here you have the MacBook Air, which did not see a redesign yesterday. It just got an internal increase in processor capabilities and graphics capabilities and hard drive space. But this was actually the first computer that Apple used their new engineering mechanisms on, and that was to create the MacBook Air. So this is actually carved out of one piece of aluminum. It features the unibody, and that's how they get such a seamless look and finish to the body itself. So now let's just compare sizes between all these things. And let's just start stacking. So we have the older MacBook Pro, which is a little larger than the updated one. We'll put that here, and you can kind of see there on the side even how different the tapering is and how much cleaner it looks on the new version. Then we have the MacBook, the older MacBook right there. Brand new MacBook, updated to be similar to the MacBook Pro, minus FireWire capabilities. And then lastly, what started this whole unibody thing, the MacBook Air. So there you have it. There's our tower of Apple machines. Apple's obviously moving towards a more unified direction in their hardware and software. If you've seen the iMac and if you've seen their newly announced LED cinema display, everything features aluminum and glass and a black bezel. Even the iPhone, at least before they came out with the black and white ones, featured that same look and feel. So our verdict is that we like it. We think it looks great, but we wish there was FireWire on the MacBook. But aside from that, we can live with this. There's an Apple for you as well. Until next time, I'm Andru Edwards. Stay tuned for more tech news through the ads at GearLive.com. Open that up. Stark differences. Let me turn that off. Cut this piece out so we can open these up. Again, with the MacBook line, you'll see a much larger contrast. No! The look at their notebooks, and I'm going to guess this one is on too.
Are you comparing them just
What? Oh man, that's awesome.